MVP Leesville, DeRitter, Fort Polk, Today's Country 105.7.
Football. Ready, break.
Football in America is a special game. The men who play it make it so.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
This is the Gridiron Gumbo Show. High school, college, and pro football talk. Live from the studios of Today's Country 5-7. The Gridiron Gumbo Show is being brought to you by Mid-South Forestry Equipment and Gina Choctaw Pines Casino. Now, let's talk football.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Gridiron Gumbo Show right here on Today's Country 105.7. Sean Larkin with you. Mike Holt across the desk. Derrick is on the injured list, as we found out about an hour or so ago. He's not with us today. Hopefully, I think it's something wrong with his eye or something, so hopefully he can get that fixed.
As long as he's good to go by Friday.
Exactly, because you got to be able to see.
Exactly.
And hopefully he's okay, but he's not with us here tonight, but that's okay. We'll be able to get this done. Look, we talk all things football here on the show, high school, college, NFL. Again, the Gridiron Gumbo Show presented by Mid-South Forestry Equipment and Gina Choctaw Pines Casino. Mike, we are already on the back end of the high school football season, getting ready for week 6.
Unbelievable.
Just finished week 5. Hope everybody had fun at the fair.
It's starting to, I noticed today walking outside, it's starting to feel,
yeah,
like
maybe it's still kind of hot.
It's a little warm, but not as.
Maybe this weekend it starts to cool off, I hope. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yes, already into week 6 of the high school football season, so we've reached the halfway point. That's crazy. NCAA is in week 7. College football, that's crazy too. NFL already approaching week 6. So that's a third of the way through already. Time flies. I mean, it's opening day of the NHL season, so that's when you know, like, October's a fun month. You've got playoff baseball, you've got the NFL, NBA starts at the end of the month, and hockey as well. So, like, you got all 4 of the major sports in this month. That's a lot of fun if you're a sports fan. But again, we're going to recap some of Week 5's action around the area. In NFL, finally, we've got a Saints win we'll talk about. Fired up like we told you we were going to win. We said that on this show last week if you tuned in. We'll recap that, preview their game this week against a scrappy-looking New England team who got themselves a big win. LSU was on a bye this past week, but there was plenty of chaos in college football, and now they come off of the bye, and they will host the South Carolina Gamecocks. We'll talk about that as well. Scores from the area in Week 5. It seems like forever ago. Like, I don't know if it was just because of the fair and whatnot, but like...
Probably because we had a game on Thursday.
But we've had games on Thursday.
I know, but this...
So I don't know, but
I know what you're saying. This felt like a longer...
This felt like a longer break, 2 weeks. Almost like we had a bye.
Yeah, I wish.
But again, Week 5 is in the books. Maryville, after picking up their first win last week against Pickering, the game we did, they've won 2 in a row. They win 22-20 over Northwood Lena. South Bow picks up a win 48-14 over Port Barry. Kinder stays undefeated. A good back and forth there against Logansport. They win that one 42-30. I believe it was their homecoming. LaSalle beats Pickering 36-0. Marksville beats Oakdale 46-8. Westminster Christian defeats Eastbow 32-14. DeRitter, the game you heard on KROK with Mike and Derrick, they took the lead. But then Jennings stormed back. They pretty much ran away with it in the second half. They win 37-21. And then the game we had for you right here on Today's Country on Thursday, Benton and Leesville. We're going to get into it, but it was a tale of 2 halves. Leesville falls in a kind of a tough one. I would say pretty tough loss, a heartbreaker, 42-35. But
big time momentum swing.
Yeah, and like I said, we're going to get into that. On the KROK side of it, like I said, Derrick not here, but Dragons fall to 2-3 with their loss to Jennings on Thursday, 37-21. Look, they come into the game after picking up the win against Westlake last week. So they go on the road. It's always tough to play at Jennings. They led 14-6 at the half. Jennings outscored them the rest of the way in the second half, 31-6. Dragons got on the board first. Jaden Merriweather, 37-yard touchdown. Extra point was good. Jennings answers right back with a Chris Ned 30-yard run. They missed on the extra point, so that was in the first quarter. DeRitter led 7-0. All the scoring here in the second quarter. So Jennings trails 7-6. Then DeRitter scores again. John Lasso from a yard out. So they take the lead into half 14-6. And then, like we said, Jennings just runs away with it. Chris Ned, 32-yard run, 2-point try is good. So they go on a 31. Yeah, they scored 31 straight. And then DeRitter finally adds another one on Jaden Cooper's 5-yard run. That was the last of the scoring, 37-21. Michael Parmley, 7 for 18, a touchdown pass, over 120 yards. Jaden Cooper had 150 yards rushing and a touchdown. Jaden Merriweather, like we said, he had over 100 and a receiving touchdown. So, again, the Dragons just kind of ran out of gas. I think they had some short fields, too, that they were unable to capitalize on, had some special teams mishaps. But they're 2-3. And they'll have Eunice coming in this Friday at home, so back at home and back on Friday. But again, opening up the District 3-4A schedule are the Dragons. They close out the non-district schedule at 2-3. As for our game, like we said, we teased it. And if you listened on the game Thursday, look, it was a tale of two halves. Benton wins their first game of the year 42-35. Leesville drops to 1-4. We talked about it in the pregame. It was kind of like a must-win. For obviously, Benton wanted to win, too. That district up there is pretty tough. But Leesville, with Iowa coming in next week to open district, Iowa undefeated, you really needed to get this one gets 2-3 because the schedules, it is going to kind of lighten up a little bit, but you don't want to put yourself in too big of a hole. And for the majority, look, it started out and was going really well. Benton got the ball first, converted a couple fourth downs. They took about half of the first quarter. They punched it in. Leesville answers right back in about 30 seconds. Mike Davis Jr., a 49-yard touchdown catch, and we'll talk about that because he was the story and one of the reasons of the outcome of this game. Leesville's first 4 drives in the first half, all touchdowns. Mike Davis, 3 touchdowns on the first 3 drives. Touchdown catches of 49 yards, 30 yards, 74 yards. They couldn't stop him. Leesville did whatever they wanted. They scored quickly. So the drives in the first half went touchdown, 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 turnover on downs. The last drive is going to be the key that we'll talk about a lot, probably more than anything else in the game. But again, Davis' first 3 drives had 3 touchdown catches. On the 4th, Grant Braxton ran one in from 4 yards out. Leesville defensively gave up an opening touchdown drive. Then after that, it was an interception by Julius Brown on a great play. They recovered a fumble, Marquell Williams, punt, turnover on downs, end of half. So they really settled in. That got them out in front at the half, 28-7. On the 5th drive of the game on offense for Leesville, we kept calling it out on the broadcast. There was no safety help. You would think after the 3rd touchdown you give up of 30-plus yards, you're going to at least put a safety over there, maybe, shade some coverage to Mike's side. Well, they don't do it. And I just kept saying, eventually they're going to hit him with a little stop and go or a slant and go. And they throw it for about 49 yards out. He was getting ready to walk in for his 4th touchdown of the half. Look, I've had a lot of time to think about it. I've had a lot of time to go back and watch it. I can't call it anything else other than a cheap shot.
Yeah. And you sent me the video, too.
Yeah, I've showed you the video. I've showed pretty much everybody that's in my phone contact list that knows what that I do this and where I'm at and going to games. I don't know how the safety, and look, I don't know safety Jonathan Hollis personally.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him. I bet he's a good kid. Not going to talk bad about him. Not going to talk bad about the coaches. In that moment, that was a dirty play.
And we talked about off the air because I wondered what constitutes an ejection.
So we're going to get there. Like I said, slant and go. I'm calling it as Mike. I'm already anticipating him catching the ball and going into the end zone. I haven't even listened to the replay. I think it's up.
Yeah, it's up on YouTube.
But in the moment, I remember just being, basically saying if he just catches it, he's in for his 4th. And then all of a sudden, he gets cleaned out by the safety.
Yeah.
Safety doesn't even go for the football. Actually kind of turns an angle towards him when the ball could have been played. And it knocks Mike Davis out of the game. He's down for a while. We took a couple of commercial breaks.
We did.
Like I said, I don't know the young man personally, so I'm not going to sit here and say he's a bad kid or a dirty player. But in that moment, that was a dirty play.
Yeah.
I can't believe he wasn't ejected from the game. So there's 3 things here. I can't believe he wasn't ejected because there were 30 yards worth of penalties. There was obviously a pass interference, and then I think maybe an unsportsmanlike conduct for kind of standing over or just hanging around the area or whatever. So 30 yards worth of penalties. Still, your players that scored 3 touchdowns is out of the game. And Two, I want to commend Julius Brown and Coach Causey and everyone else that was in the area. Well, actually, nobody was in the area because it was on the far side.
Yeah.
Julius runs over, full sprint, not to go and take out the guy.
Check on his teammate.
He went to go check on his teammate. Yeah. I want to commend them first and foremost. That should be the story. Because it takes a lot of restraint.
Absolutely.
To watch someone just, I mean, guys, that you could probably find the video if you wanted. I would post it, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But it's out there. I mean, there's no play on the ball. It's an obvious dirty play. But in that moment, to not react, to show restraint, that takes a lot of class and sportsmanship. And just in the moment, it takes a lot of wherewithal to know what you're doing, and I can't.
Because it could have easily went another way.
Well, I told you this before that we started the show, Mike. In hockey, there's a thing called enforcers. I mean, they have them in basketball too. Like, you rough the guards up, well, the big guys or the enforcers are gonna, do something about it. In hockey, if Wayne Gretzky or Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid, and I'm sure nobody in this area knows who those guys are except Wayne Gretzky. Those are your scorers. Those are the guys that put the puck into the net. Yeah. And if they get hit and beat around, there are enforcers on that bench to go out there and hurt the people that hurt them. Or, if they get knocked out of the game, well, then they drop the gloves and those guys go fight someone on the other team. Yeah. In that moment, to not do anything like that is pretty impressive. Just talks about the character of the team and the character of the coach, and that's a reflection on Coach Causey and his team. Because when you see your guy down, and he was down for quite a while, to show restraint there and just go check on him and not worry about everything, because it wasn't on your sideline, it was on their sideline. It just takes a lot of character, and that's one thing I want to take away from this. Probably the most thing that we've talked about off air was just, I can't believe nobody reacted in the way that you kind of see happen a lot, because in that moment it's a dirty play, and as we'll see, the drive continues 15-20 minutes later, and Leesville gets stopped on 4th and goal to end the half. And instead of going up 35-7, where you're getting the ball out of the locker room and it's over. The game's over because you're up, a lot. And you're just going to keep – they're not going to stop Mike. He's going to have 6 touchdowns in the game. He was on his way to his 4th. I think unofficially he had 5 catches for 184 yards and 3 touchdowns. So you weren't stopping him. You weren't going to stop him on his 4th. So he probably goes and gets 5 or 6. I mean, we hadn't even gotten to talk about Terrell Broom yet, who finished with the school record in passing yards. It would have been even more, and Mike Davis might have joined him with the most receiving yards in a game. Instead, he was knocked out of the game. However, you don't score on that drive because you can't catch the ball and run it into the end zone because your player gets knocked out. Yeah. So you don't score, and we didn't know at the time that was going to probably be the difference in the game and the momentum swinger. So you go into the locker room up 28-7. We said it, playing well, probably got to do it without one of your top players, but you still got a lot going on, and you get the ball out of the locker room. Out of the locker room, Benton outscores Leesville 35-7 in the second half. And we talked about it on the game Thursday. They did the same thing against Captain Shreve. They lost 59-48, but they scored 41 points in the second half against Captain Shreve. This is a team that's 0-4, but they can score it. The quarterback, Malachi Ziegler, he's every bit as advertised. The team around him, obviously he elevates them. But once he got going, you could tell there was a momentum change. Out of the locker room, Leesville's offensive drives went punt, punt, punt in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, interception, punt, the touchdown to Julius Brown, and then on the final play of the game, the interception, which, like we said, not to rub salt in the wound, Jonathan Hollis, the kid that knocked Mike out of the game, makes the game-ending interception in the end zone. You won the turnover battle if you're Leesville. It was +1. You got 2 in the first half. But like we said, punt, 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 interception, punt, touchdown, interception. And credit Benton just chipping away. I mean, that's all they did. Ziegler, 2 touchdown passes. He really got going with his legs. He had some big runs, 70 yards. Greg Chambers, 4 touchdowns, 141 rushing yards. Like I said, Grant Braxton got a touchdown. But shout out to Terrell Broom, 407 passing yards. It's a new school record. Previously held by Zach Squires back in 2010 against Sulphur. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was a year after I graduated, so that's even longer. But, congratulations to Terrell, 4 touchdown passes. Look, they just came up short. And to say that play didn't impact the rest of the game is that you'd be crazy not to assume that. And I know you play the rest. There's a whole half. And
you got to keep playing.
You look what Benton did last week, and you go, okay, we can't let this happen. But they couldn't touch him. Yeah. All 3 touchdowns, he's running free release. He's wide open. He's getting behind safeties. And then to get knocked out of that game, it's just unfortunate. And what's even worse is now Leesville's 1-4.
Yeah.
And they got an Iowa team coming in that's really 5-0.
And it's homecoming.
And it's homecoming, I think, for every team in Vernon.
Every team in Vernon, yeah.
But it's tough, man. We said it because even though, like, you kind of watched Leesville be a little sluggish out of the locker room, they still had a lead. And then it kept dwindling down, and they just couldn't get anything going. And not only was Mike out, they had quite a few injuries on defense, and before the game anyways, they had 4 or 5 guys over there just in street clothes. Had a couple more guys go down with cramps, come back in. By the end of that game, you could tell they've got a lot of guys going both ways to just kind of help defensively.
Which isn't usually typical for a Leesville team.
No, and it's not typical for 4A and 5A schools, right? But that's where you're at. You're trying to win and put your best guys out there, and that game got really physical and taxing late, and emotionally taxing, mentally and physically taxing, and Leesville just ran out of juice. And credit them. Look, when Benton took the lead at 35-34 or 34-28 with 4 minutes left, about 5 minutes left, 3rd and 17, they hit it. Julius Brown, great catch, gets behind the secondary, great throw, and you just thought they needed one more stop. They just couldn't get it. They ran out of gas. But reached out to Mike. He's feeling all right. Whether he plays this week, I guess that'll be up to Coach Causey and him. But you hope he's back out there.
Absolutely.
And like I said, it was unfortunate. Obviously, congrats to Trail for a heck of a game. School record. He's been great.
I'd be very curious to know what his total is on the season so far.
Yeah. And Mike, like I said, 5 catches for 180 plus and 3 scores, and that was in 5 drives.
And probably would have scored who knows how many more. Yeah.
He was on his way. If he doesn't get hit, he's scoring his 4th, and that's a 49-yarder, so you can add 49 to that. It's just however long he would have been in the game, and that just kind of was an unfortunate end of the half. And then, like I said, Leesville just kind of ran out of gas. But you got to get back out there Friday because you got a team coming in Iowa that's 5-0 and they're rolling.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you're running out of weeks. We're in week 6. You'll have 5 more games after that, or 4 more games after this. So, the wins have got to start coming if you want to get into the postseason. But it was a tough one. Game got fun, good back and forth. Like we said, just you hate that play. And like we said, to pour salt in the wound, the kid that knocks Mike out of the game is the one that intercepts the ball. Yeah. That's frustrating, too, because you're thinking he shouldn't be in there. Yeah. And like we said, I don't know what it takes to warrant an ejection. Yeah. But I know what happens if somebody retaliates on your player getting knocked out. That guy that retaliates is probably getting ejected. And then that makes you wonder, well, he's not ejected. So I just don't know. I'd like to know the explanation of why he wasn't, because you can clearly see on the replay, changes his path and just goes for the player, which defenseless player, and it cost him his game and possibly a win for Leesville. But like we said, it's frustrating. They're back at it this week, and it seems like it just you can't sit and dwell on it.
Move on to the next one.
Yep, absolutely. So the Week 5 schedule, again, no Thursday games this week, Mike.
I noticed that.
That I could find.
I couldn't find any.
We have a couple of teams not in action. East Bow is on a bye, so they'll rest up.
Okay.
And then Oberlin, we talked about it. Their numbers are down, but they made the post at the beginning of the week. They're not going to play their game against Elton due to player safety. Yeah. Look, that's the most important thing. You just hope they're unable. You don't want them to not be able to go out there again, because I think 2 forfeits or whatever, and you've got at least 2 years maybe, or a year or something. I don't want to. It's not good. No. So hopefully, they can get healthy and have enough to finish out the season, because that's a program that's been around forever, and you just hope stuff like that doesn't happen. So those 2 teams are off. Oakdale's at Menard. Menard's 4-1. That Kinder Menard game should be a lot of fun in a couple of weeks. Kinder's 5-0. They go to South Bow. South Bow's 2-3. Kinder 5-0. We did this game last year. South Bow whipped them up and down the field, and I I think Kinder, they're probably thinking about this game this week. Last year they want to go and handle business to get to 6-0. Pickering is at home against Crescent City. Crescent City is 0-4.
I remember they had to make that trip.
Last year that was a long ways. Like we said, Maryville 2-game win streak. They have Basile at home. Iowa's at Leesville. You can hear that on KJAE. Again, homecoming over there. DeRitter's hosting Eunice. The Bobcats come in at 2-3. That one on 95.7 K-Rock.
The station that believes in dragons.
Derrick and Mike will have that for you. And then we will be back at McKee-McCain Stadium where the Rose Pine Eagles still looking for their first win. They'll have Winfield 1-4. Homecoming night at Rose Pine, so that should be a lot of fun.
Classes ending in 5.
Yeah, classes ending in 5s. 1905, 15, 25. Depends on how far back Austin wants to go.
Yeah.
Started watching a little bit of Winfield. They kind of run like a power spread, kind of wing back offense. They 1-4, but look, Rose Pine's got to get healthy. They're a little banged up right now too. Everybody at this point is going through it.
The owner of the station, Al, that's his neck of the woods, Winfield.
Winfield?
Yeah.
How about that?
So shout out to Al.
Shout out Al. But that is the Week 6 area schedule, so plenty of games, and they're all on Friday.
Crazy.
Yep. We'll take a quick break, come back, we'll talk a wild week of college football this past week and preview LSU South Carolina. You're listening to the Gridiron Gumbo Show on today's Country 105.7.
The high school football game of the week is back on Friday this week from McKee-McCain Stadium in Rose Pine as the Rose Pine Eagles host the Winfield Tigers. Catch all the action with Sean Larkin and Glenn Granger on the call. Kickoff 7 o'clock. The high school football game of the week is brought to you in part by Wagon Master, Double D's, and Cecil's, Popeyes, Sabine State Bank, Vernon Parish Sheriff's Department, The Catfish Hut, Rose Pine Pharmacy, Gina Choctaw Pines Casino, Shawson Gas, David Heyman State Farm, State Senator Mike Reese. It's Rose Pine, it's Winfield. Friday night, it's the high school football game of the week on today's Country 105.7. Mid-South Forestry Equipment in Manny, formerly Patrick Miller Tractor, would like you to know that we're still providing the same great service that our customers have come to depend on. Our name may have changed, but our commitment to the community is still the same. We look forward to continuing to service all your Tiger Cat, Kubota, Land Pride, and Bad Boy needs. Stop in and say hi or give us a call at 318-256-5686 for more information. That's Mid-South Forestry Equipment in Manny, formerly Patrick Miller Tractor.
Gina Choctaw Pines Casino, your place for fun.
Looking for some excitement? Come push our buttons and get paid.
Gina Choctaw Pines Casino, your place for fun.
Must be 21.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Gumbo Show here on today's Country 105.7, presented by Mid-South Forestry Equipment and Gina Choctaw Pines Casino. We have talked about high school football, Week 5 in the rear view, Week 6. Now to college. NCAA, it was a wild Week 6. 3 of the top 15, including 2 of the top 10 teams, go down. Iowa State lost to Cincinnati 38-30. Cincy was up 31-7. They hang on to win that one. Iowa State was 14.
Yeah, I think that was Cincy's first win over a top 20 since 2021 or something.
That sounds about right, because they've had some games, and they've had some, they haven't been great, but they've been scrappy, and they had
Luke Fickell.
Yeah, and look, Iowa State, that was a team that coming in they've won some close games, and they dropped their first one of the season there at Cincinnati. Like I said, 31-7. It was out of control, and then they kind of started chipping away. But they lose at number 14. Alabama, Vandy, Mike, we talked about it, and we'll talk about it in our picks, but this was a game I thought that it would be no in between. Like either Alabama was going to roll them, or it would be like a back-and-forth shootout kind of like last year. Diego Pavia had 2 red zone turnovers, and that was the difference in that game. They were moving the ball like about halfway through the second quarter. I'm thinking like, man, they're going to do this again. And you could see it in the stadium and look on that Alabama sideline. Simpson throws the interception, And then, like, they bust off the long run, and Vandy's, in this game, and you're like, man, they're really going to do this again. And it was a back and forth the whole way, but the 2 turnovers were the difference. Look, Alabama, I don't think they're quite dead yet. We thought they were.
We hoped they were.
Yeah, we hoped they were. Really, what it was. It was hope. It was like, to quote Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, it was just a fool's hope.
Yeah.
And like, they continue to roll. Coming off that big win against Georgia, you thought they may come out a little flat. Well, they didn't. It's just, I think, more taken away from this game. I think Vanderbilt is a lot better than people thought.
Yep.
I think they were giving them credit for this win last year and just thinking they weren't, they were okay. But, man, they showed me, even with those turnovers, they were in the game the whole way.
I definitely worry about them against LSU.
Oh, yeah, no. We'll cross that bridge next week
but
when LSU goes there and it's 11 a.m. kickoff, because it ain't going to be like it was in 19.
Nope.
Or 20. I think we went there in 20 or 21, too.
And that was just announced yesterday?
Yeah.
Right.
Which we knew it was going to be a morning game, but look, yeah, I came away from this not thinking like Bama's back or anything, because, they're good. They're just going to roll along. But I came away thinking, man, Vanderbilt showed me a lot going on the road and kind of weathering the storm and hanging in there despite the 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
They were both in the red zone. Bama capitalized on all their red zone trips. That was the difference. But like we said, you can't turn it over in the red zone. You can't leave points out there. And we've seen LSU do it a couple times. If you do it in the red zone, you're directly leaving points on the board. But yeah, I came away from that thinking Vandy was. I was more impressed with what I thought Vandy was, which was a pretty good team. They kind of validated that, even though they lost, and we already knew Bama was good. But like I said, I came away with that thinking LSU's gonna have a real problem in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
So Alabama wins. They're back rolling. Did you watch a little Florida State Miami?
A little bit.
So that game started out great. But then Miami went out to a 28-3 lead. They hang on. They win by 6.
Is Florida State not as good as we thought? Or?
Well, see, I think
you still think they're.
I think they're decent because Virginia's good.
Yeah,
and they went to Virginia and lost that game, a couple weeks ago. But I think Florida State is not as good as they were when they beat Bama, but they're not as bad as 2-10 last year.
No.
They're right there in the middle. I think a lot of people kind of not overinflated what they are, but I think they thought maybe too quickly they have already turned back around what last year was. I think they're kind of in the middle. They're still very good. What I think, though, is you've got an argument that Miami's the best team in the country at this moment.
Yeah.
We talk about it on this show.
They're certainly playing like
We're not really sure who is.
Yeah.
But Miami going on the road, that place was jumping, man. It's cool because we've seen Florida State with Jameis and them, make that run and come back, and Miami's been good lately.
Does it feel like the Miami of old?
It does, and it felt like Florida State Miami of old.
Yeah.
That place was rocking. They had the tomahawk chop going, and I think one of the coolest pregame little, rituals is Chief Osceola lighting the spear and they were ready, and Miami just kind of took it to them early. It was 28-3, and Florida State really just couldn't move the ball on them. They started clawing their way back. We saw Miami do this last year with some clock management, just dumb, like going for it on 4th down. They were up 9, and instead of just kicking the field goal up 12, they go for it on like a 4th and 5. They throw it. They don't make Florida State burn all their timeouts. So Florida State kicks the field goal and has a chance to get the onside kick. Down 6, they had it kind of sidewinding, couldn't get a hand on it. But we've seen Miami and Coach Cristobal do some just mind-blowing things with that. They lost the game Georgia Tech like that recently. Clock management, even in those games you don't think they matter, they may matter down the road against a team that's more, efficient with the clock. But I can make an argument to you right now that Miami's the number 1 team in the country. They've got better wins than Ohio State. Oregon's win at Penn State, as we'll talk about, doesn't look as good as it did. They beat Notre Dame at home. They beat South Florida, who was ranked. So I think their body of work right now is in better shape than Ohio State.
I haven't even seen a poll this week. Were they 2 or 3?
I think they're 3rd.
3rd, okay.
Yeah, and
I thought that's
I
what
could
they
be
were.
wrong,
yeah.
but let me just pull this up for us here.
Oregon's number 1.
Wait, that's basketball. I was like, the Florida Gators are not ranked number 1. They're not.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry, Miami's 2.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can make an argument they got 21 first-place votes. So Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, OU, Indiana.
And we talked about A&M off air.
Yeah, and that's the next game. Look, they beat Mississippi State 31-9. I told you this last week. I like Mississippi State, but I think A&M's playing really well defensively, especially. If you can't go in there and score, Auburn couldn't do it. Mississippi State couldn't either. You're not going to beat them. You got to score points. LSU plays them in a couple weeks. They got to score. They're not going to win the game. They're not going to. 5-0 for the first time since 2016 are the Aggies. Defensively, like I've watched the games, and you're watching it and you don't realize it until they tell you the stat after the game. And their defense has held Auburn and Mississippi State on third downs combined 1 for 23 in the last two games.
That's a good number.
Yeah, that's why they're winning these games, I think 31-9. And look, it was 3-0 Mississippi State forever. They scored. It was 7-3 at half. Then it was 14-3 half the third. And Mississippi State just couldn't score. Like, that's all they had to do was score, and they were in the game. And A&M defensively has just, man, they look really good. And I don't even think they're playing their best because offensively they still kind of sputter throughout the game. So if they put it all together, Mike Elko's done a pretty good job over there in 2 years really quickly. And as we know, that game's coming up.
When they fired Jimbo, it looked bad.
Yeah, it didn't look good, but they have the money. But they had the money with Jimbo, and that doesn't always do it. It doesn't correlate, as we'll see with Texas. We talk about them. Mike, I don't want to brag, but sometimes your boy does get a couple things right. What have I been saying for about 3 weeks?
The Penn State.
No, Texas.
Texas. I'm about Texas.
Texas was going to go to Florida, and they were going to lose.
And they did.
Yep. And it did.
Texas looks bad.
29-21 was the final. It wasn't that close.
Arch doesn't look good.
Arch looks bad, but I don't think it's all Arch's problem. He's some of the problem. Freshman for Florida receiver Dallas Wilson, 6 for 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. Best freshman debut at Florida ever. That helped out. This is Billy Napier's third win against an AP top 10 at Florida.
And I've seen somebody say Sunbelt Billy saved his job.
Yes, that's what. Like, there were people mad because he won. Yeah. But you don't want to lose.
No.
But they win again, and he wins another big game because they beat Ole Miss. They beat us last year. They were out. This is their third win against an AP top 10 under Napier, and the record itself is not good.
No.
This was their first win since week 1.
Wow.
And that was. I forgot who they played. It wasn't anyone that mattered. But Texas, man, this is their second loss. They go from 9th to unranked, as they should, because they don't have a win against anyone.
This is a bad loss.
Yeah. They put a ton of money in their roster.
Yeah.
They got a quarterback who was, deemed the savior and one of the top picks of the draft next year, and it doesn't look good.
No.
They don't look good offensively. They got ran all over by a team that doesn't really run the football. Florida hasn't looked great on offense. DJ Lagway had a great game. They almost gave it away at the end, but then Arch got sacked, and he just looked out of sorts.
Yeah. He hasn't really
careless with the football.
He hasn't really looked good all year.
No, and he's looked good against Sam Houston State.
Yeah,
and, you go to the Swamp, and that's a tough place to play. I mean, LSU goes there almost every other year. Or, they have. I mean, LSU went there last year, and they got beat by double digits. So Texas doesn't look good. This was a team that preseason number 1. They had them preseason number 1. Lost at Ohio State. Nothing wrong with that game. It was competitive, but you could see the signs in that game that with Arch. And look, it is his first full year starting. I just think not me, but we as a whole kind of put these expectations on people.
The pressure.
Yeah, and instead of just kind of letting it play out, we're so reactionary. It's like, they're the best ever. Oh, they're the worst ever. And this is 6 weeks now or 5 weeks now of Arch just kind of struggling. And look, I said it a couple times, maybe on this show. Last year, I thought maybe if Arch played last year, they win the whole thing because Quinn Ewers was banged up, but that's why coaches know a little bit more than we do because maybe Sark was onto something.
The big bucks.
Because this guy does not look like somebody that would win anything. And the game we'll talk about that'll get easier for them, or it doesn't get any easier as we'll talk about next, but there's still one more game that I want to look at, Mike. And that is a team we talked about last week.
That's another one. This is another one you called.
Yeah. The Penn State Nittany Lions for my entire existence have been a fraudulent program.
Yeah.
the coolest thing they do, or at least the thing we're told they do that's awesome, is everybody that goes to the game wears a white shirt. And, 100,000 wearing white. It looks cool. We said it last week. It does look cool. But, that's their thing. What they don't do is win big games. They don't win national championships. They don't
win games they should either.
Yeah, they don't. Well, that's coming.
Yeah.
But what they did last year was lose the only game that mattered on their schedule, but they still got into the playoff because, quote, the 12-team playoff is perfect for a team like Penn State. If they get in after losing last week to Oregon at home, which Oregon dominated up until the comeback and then ended up pulling it off in overtime, but if we're going to look at their schedule and they're going to play it out and probably win all the games, but if after what went down in Pasadena last Saturday and they're allowed to play in the college football playoff, we've got to storm the college football playoff committee's house and maybe not burn it down, but we've got to roll it with toilet paper because they lose a game on the road at UCLA, who was 0-4. The Bruins were a 24.5-point underdog in this game.
Who have an interim coach.
Fired head coach, two coordinators gone. The tight ends coach, Jerry Neuheisel, son of Rick Neuheisel, who was UCLA's coach back in the day, had never called plays before. He said he had 2 days to put a plan together. Okay? UCLA had never led in a game this season before Saturday. 0 points in the first quarter all season. They become the 5th team all time to be 0-4 or worse and beat an AP top 10 team. And they did it to the number 7 team in the country, Penn State, who a lot of people picked to be a national title contender because their quarterback came back, who was below average last year to me. They got some receivers in the portal to help quarterback. It's time. James Franklin, it's time for them. It's not. They're not good.
No.
They're not good. They never will be a serious program. They don't win when it matters. They wear the white shirts, and that's cool. But the white shirts, you know what? They needed 103,000 people to play in the game.
Yeah.
Because there were 35 people total in the stands for UCLA's game because they're not good.
Man.
And when they stormed the field, it just looked like there was crazy people running on the field because it wasn't a big wave.
That's funny.
Like we said, Jerry Neuheisel's first time calling plays. I don't know if you knew this, Mike, but according to 247, defensive coordinator Jim Knowles at Penn State left Ohio State this past year. He's the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country. He gets paid just a little bit over $3 million, 3.1. By the way, Blake Baker's second, but he's earning his money.
He should be first.
This is what the highest paid defensive coordinator in college football gets you against, by the way, a team that was the worst Power 4 team in the country. 446 total yards, 280 rushing yards. They scored on their first 5 possessions, missed a field goal on the 6th. 10 for 16 on third downs. The guy that we've talked about and that everybody, the national story in college football, if you wanted to ask, if anybody asked you that doesn't watch, what's wrong with today's college football or what is the state of today's college football, all summer and in the spring, you could have pointed them into the direction of former quarterback Nico Iamaleava, right? He was at Tennessee, left Tennessee night before the spring game because he wanted more money. Went 5 or 6 different schools. They didn't pay him. UCLA finally did. You could look at his situation. The parents were involved. Basically, I want more money or I'm leaving, and he did. And it ain't been good. He's been awful. Very bad. They've lost to New Mexico. Like I said, they ain't led in a game. They ain't scored in the first quarter. But I'm going to shout out Nico because he played really well the other day. And look, this is a dude that it wasn't that decision. Honestly, people were mad at UCLA because they say don't pay him because if someone pays you after you don't get your way here, well then
what makes you think you're not going to?
Well then all it takes is that one to keep it going, and all it takes is a couple of people to say no, and then everybody else gets the courage to say no, and that works in life.
Yeah.
But they paid him, and everybody's like, "Well, this is what's wrong with college football because it keeps, you can keep enabling this." Man, he played great. 166 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Every time I looked up on the screen, he was running for 10 yards. He had 16 carries, 128 yards, average at 8 yards a carry, and 3 touchdowns. So he was responsible for 5 touchdowns. Again, this is under brand new second-day play caller Jerry Neuheisel against the highest-paid defensive coordinator in the country. Yeah. He showed the ability to run, which that's crazy. You could just improvise and take off and run. You can make a quarterback look good. But, yeah, Penn State back-to-back losses for the first time since 2021. Their 34-game win streak against AP unranked opponents is snapped. Like I said, Nico Iamaleava he's been the punching bag of the entire college football landscape the last few months. But I got to give him his props, man, because he looked good. And shout out to my buddy Nick Hallaby. He worked with me at KLSU. He hired me. He's from out there. Okay. He's the only UCLA fan I know that's like a real one.
Yeah.
Living out in Los Angeles,
not a closet
growing up there, he said everybody liked USC. He's like, there's not real UCLA fans. I don't know if he was there. I didn't text him Saturday, but I know he was there for the Utah game, which they got dragged in a couple of weeks ago. He was just sitting out there in a stadium full of like maybe 5,000 in the Rose Bowl. But shout out to him because, look, you never want to see teams just look bad and be embarrassed like that. But, Deshaun Foster gets fired. You're losing coaches and you're Penn State, man. This is an embarrassing loss. It's so embarrassing. It's only the 5th time ever that a team 0-4 or worse beat a top 10 team in the AP poll. The last time it happened, Mike, was 40 years ago.
Wow.
UTEP, who was 0-6, defeated number 7 BYU. I mean, just what else do you need to hear? Like, this is a Penn State team that if they're anywhere close, which they're unranked now, but if they're anywhere close to a conversation about the college football playoff, then what are we doing? You can't reward teams for this because they don't play another game on their schedule that matters.
I was going to ask you, there's not another big game.
There's not. They don't play anyone else on their schedule that with a pulse. So of course they're going to win them all.
Yeah.
Don't even entertain the fact that they should be fighting for a spot of the 12 because they don't deserve it.
Especially if they got in over,
anybody from the SEC, we're about to talk about.
Yes.
LSU's back in action. Homecoming at LSU too this week, Mike. Yeah, those are fun. They don't last as long as high school though. Yeah. It's like 20 minutes.
Okay.
That's the best part about college halftimes or NFL halftimes. College is long, but LSU hosts South Carolina this Saturday at 6:45 on the SEC Network. This is a series LSU's just dominated. Yeah. 22-1, 20 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie. The series dates back to 1930. That was one of the 2 times South Carolina won the game, 7-6. The other was in 1994 at LSU. They won 18-17. Last year, we remember the game. LSU was down 17-0. It was a wild game. They win 36-33. Josh Williams with a late touchdown. They go down and miss the field goal for LSU to win. I think it was an 11 a.m. kick. Game day was there.
Yep.
Don Staley picked the Gamecocks to win. They didn't. Take that, Don. But again, LSU's dominated this series. The last time LSU played South Carolina in Baton Rouge was 2020. 52-24. T.J. Finley got a start. Threw for about 270 and 2 touchdowns. There have been some really memorable games lately in Tiger Stadium. 2012, that's the one I can remember. South Carolina came in number 3, which is Davion Clowney. LSU beat him 23-21. Jeremy Hill as a freshman.
Was the old ball coach the coach?
He was. He ran for 2 touchdowns, did Jeremy Hill as a freshman. And then in 2015, that game was originally supposed to be in Columbia, but there was a lot of flooding in the area, so they moved that game to Baton Rouge. LSU won the 2015 game 45-24. Fournette and Guys combined for 320 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. LSU had 624 total yards in that game.
Man.
And you mentioned head coach Steve Spurrier. He would retire 2 days after LSU defeated South Carolina in 2015.
Okay.
And again, 2020, the last time they played. Look, LSU had a week off to get healthy. Garrett Nussmeier is going to be the story.
Yep.
Defensively, I don't expect South Carolina to come in and be good. Lenore Sellers is good. If you remember, I don't think if he gets hurt last year, LSU wins that game. They almost still didn't win. We threw him the ball twice. I think a fumble and an interception late. They got called back. But it's going to be on the offense. This is about to start a gauntlet.
Everybody's watching.
It starts a gauntlet for you this week, and then you go to Vandy, and then A&M, and then Bama is on the schedule. Like, it don't let up. South Carolina, on the other hand, had some opportunities, this year to make some noise. the loss to LSU last year kept them out of the playoff.
Yeah.
It pretty much did. They lost 3 games. They were on the outside looking in. Mike, you want to talk about getting desperate, and you want to talk about life in the SEC? This is the schedule for South Carolina in the next 5 weeks. Saturday is at number 11 LSU. The week after that is Oklahoma, who's ranked 6th in the country.
Ouch.
You follow that up again at home against number 8 Alabama, at number 4 Ole Miss, and at number 5 A&M.
That's brutal.
What in the world are you thinking if you're South Carolina?
That's like when we looked at Florida's schedule.
Yeah. There's only one that's worse, and it's probably Florida.
Yeah.
But, yeah, look, South Carolina's going to come in desperate. But you got to get on them. I think defensively they should not have trouble scoring. We'll talk about the line in a little bit. The betting line, LSU's like 9.5. It opened at 10.5. But it's going to be on the offense. And when we come back for next week's show, that's what we're going to see. I want to see a healthy Garrett Nussmeier. If he is healthy or if he gets healthy, it's got to look better than it has. I mean,
be able to run the ball.
Got to be able to run the ball. You should be getting Caden Durham back.
Yep.
Green another week to heal. You should be getting some guys back, and there's no excuse anymore. We didn't dwell on it last week because of the bye, and we were told that he needs to get rest up and get healthy, so we'll see what the product is. But again, 6:45 LSU, South Carolina from Tiger Stadium on the SEC Network.
You will be there, huh?
Yep, I will. And we'll get into the Week 7 games. It's a great schedule this week in college football. We'll talk about that in our pick'ems. We will take one more break, come back, and celebrate a Saints victory. You're listening to the Gridiron Gumbo Show on today's Country 105.7.
The high school football game of the week is back on Friday this week from McKee-McCain Stadium in Rose Pine as the Rose Pine Eagles host the Winfield Tigers. Catch all the action with Sean Larkin and Glenn Granger on the call. Kickoff 7 o'clock. The high school football game of the week is brought to you in part by Representative Chuck Owen, McKee Agency, Barksdale Federal Credit Union, Thrifty Way Pharmacy, Acadian Ambulance, Sabine River Authority, Hickory Smokehouse, Rethink Title, Weaver Motors, Kirbyville, Vernon Parish Community Health Center, Champion Homes, Benoit Motors, West Louisiana Dental. It's Rose Pine, it's Winfield. Friday night, it's the high school football game of the week on today's Country 105.7. Mid-South Forestry Equipment in Manny, formerly Patrick Miller Tractor, would like you to know that we're still providing the same great service that our customers have come to depend on. Our name may have changed, but our commitment to the community is still the same. We look forward to continuing to service all your Tiger Cat, Kubota, Land Pride, and Bad Boy needs. Stop in and say hi or give us a call at 318-256-5686 for more information. That's Mid-South Forestry Equipment in Manny, formerly Patrick Miller Tractor.
Gina Choctaw Pines Casino, your place for fun.
Looking for some excitement? Come push our buttons and get paid.
Gina Choctaw Pines Casino, your place for fun.
Must be 21.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Gumbo Show here on today's Country 105.7, presented by Mid-South Forestry Equipment and Gina Choctaw Pines Casino. Sean Larkin, Mike Holt with you. Derrick on the injured list. Hopefully he gets better soon. Mike, we said it again on the show last week, going away. The Saints have their first win of the
Ellen Moore
era. And that is Kellen Moore, but as Miss B said in his introductory press conference, Ellen Moore. But
I don't care what his name is.
I don't either. He can call himself whatever he wants. Exactly. It's 2025. Whatever he wants to identify by, I don't care.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Coach Kellen Moore. Congratulations to Spencer Rattler.
Absolutely.
The Saints pick up win number 1, man. Look, this is a team, we said it. They're not going to be very good this year, but they've been in a couple of those games. They didn't even show up to the game in Seattle. They go to Buffalo. They hang around and compete, but they fall short. I mean, you could kind of see some things building up. Yeah. And we said if they played like they played in Buffalo, they would win the game. And it didn't start that way.
No.
But look, this is the first win since December 8th, 2024. That snaps an 8-game losing streak. That last win was also against the New York Football Giants. That was actually the last time Derek Carr donned a Saints uniform as well. He went over the top in that game inexplicably and got hurt on a second down. But Again, snaps the 8-game losing streak. Saints trailed 14-3 in the second quarter. It did not look good. They were about to punt. They got a penalty to keep a drive alive, which was a pass interference. They led 16-14 at half. They also took their first snaps with a lead in 2025. They took a lead against Arizona in week 1 when they scored a touchdown, but then on defense they gave up a score. So they never had a lead, took a snap with the lead until they had the lead on Sunday. Look, this was a team effort. It wasn't pretty. Like we said, it started out 14-3. Penalties were still an issue at the beginning. I think they had ran. I've got it written down somewhere here. They only had 7 accepted. It went better as the game went on, but in the first 4 plays, they had 2 pre-snap penalties.
Can't have that.
You can't. It's got to stop.
Yeah.
And it's not just the rookies. It's the veterans. It's guys not getting lined up. But we had been begging for the big play. Saints were last in 20-plus passes down the field. They were last in receiver yards after the catch. That, to me, that's a personnel issue. Is what that is. But they finally hit it. And it's the guy who's hit them for the last couple of years, Rashid Shaheed. 87-yarder, took the top off. It was one play. That's what this offense is needed. You're not going to get a whole lot because, like we said, you've got an old Brandon Cooks. Chris Olave's not kind of a yards after catch guy. Rashid Shaheed's the dude that just takes off and goes.
I don't even remember hearing Brandon Cooks' name on Sunday.
He gets a target and a catch a game maybe.
Okay.
But look, man, it was they had to hit the play. They did. Spencer Rattler continues to just do enough to not lose a game.
He's protecting the football.
Takes care of the ball. He was 21 of 31, 225, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, ran for 20 yards. Like I said, Rashid Shaheed, 4 catches, 114 yards. Chris Olave, 7 for 59. We saw Taysom Hill play a role. Obviously, he's still working his way back. You could tell, not at 100%. He tore his ACL 8 months ago.
Kendra
Miller's played well.
Yep.
He's getting the bulk of the carries, which is fine.
Yep.
You don't need wear and tear on Alvin's body. But the defense, man, this was a game that the defense really took over. After those first 2 drives, and this is similar to Buffalo. They did the same thing against the Bills. They got up and down the field, and then they just kind of settled in. 5 straight possessions the defense forced a turnover. Demario Davis forced fumble that Jonas Sanker recovered. He's just in the right spot every time. He has been the last few weeks. He looks like he could be one of those rookies that you build around on defense.
That roughing the passer call on Carl Granderson, by the way?
We're going to get there.
Yet,
I don't even.
That's terrible.
There's going to be some money coming out of Cam Jordan's pocket, I'm sure. But then on the second possession, Cam Jordan just picks up a fumble at Jackson Dart. I don't know what happened. He just kind of lost it.
I love watching Cam Jordan play.
Yeah, he still gets after it. And then the Jordan Howden touchdown, Justin Reed goes out with a concussion early in the game, so Jordan Howden comes in to play safety. The Cam Scatteraboo, I love Cam Scatteraboo at Arizona State. I wish the Saints would have drafted Cam Scatteraboo. He's inside the red zone. Brian Brzee makes a heck of a play, punches the ball out, and Jordan Howden takes it back 80 yards for a touchdown. And then Kool-Aid McKinstry gets his first 2 interceptions on back-to-back drives. 5 straight possessions with a turnover for the defense. It was a team win.
Yeah.
And look, there's still issues. Blake Grupe, 2 missed field goals. He was 4 for 6. He's 10 for 15 on the season.
He's missed 5 for the year?
He's missed 5. We've played 5 games.
Yeah.
He didn't miss one last week, but he missed 2 in the Giants game.
You just can't have that.
Mike, here's the stat. 66.7% field goal percentage made. He's tied for 33rd. Mike, how many teams are in the NFL?
32.
32. So what does that tell you?
Yes.
You know what that means? That means other teams have had guys miss field goals, and they've cut them and moved on.
Which the Saints haven't done.
No.
Not yet anyway.
And it's going to be pretty close to time. Charlie Smith is on the practice squad.
That's what I asked you before the show.
Yeah, he's on the practice squad. You've got to at least see what you got.
Give it a try, yeah.
Because you can't be missing a field goal in every game.
No.
We're not a good enough team to do that.
Yeah.
And it's cost us situationally.
Yeah.
The Niners game, we miss a field goal. Instead of having to kick a field goal, we have to drive for a touchdown in that game, and we don't win.
Yeah. And it feels like so far under Kellen Moore, when he gets the chance, he's going to go for the point.
Yeah, and he's going to take them because he knows, you've got to maximize and value your possessions, and that's what he does. And if we're missing field goals, then you can't do that.
You're not getting the points. Yeah.
But congratulations to Kellen Moore. Look, the video in the locker room was cool. Man, he was handing out game balls, and then Alvin Kamara gives him one. He just seems like Just seems like an all-around good guy.
Yeah, good guy. Good football.
Obviously doesn't get fiery mad.
No.
And, or at least we don't see.
Yeah.
But I think he did a little bit
yeah.
when Carl Granderson pulled Jackson Dart's flag.
Yes.
And got roughing the passer. I don't know what you do, Mike.
I don't know.
Cam Jordan 2 days later was still ranting and raving on Twitter or X.
Yeah.
So he may get fined. But he deserves it. I'll pay it because that's a sack every time. And that wasn't a big juncture of the game. That kept them moving the ball. We ended up, the Saints stopped them. But, that's a 2-possession game. Mm-hmm. They score there. It's a 1-possession game. Then you go 3 and out. They got a chance to win.
Yeah.
They got a tough team coming up. Patriots coming in, man. Patriots beat the Bills. There are no remaining undefeateds in the NFL. 0. Eagles lose to the Broncos, and the Bills lose on Sunday night at home to the Pats. Pats are coming in.
AFC seems to be wide open.
It is. What I'm thinking is that the Pats have a little hangover after that game. That's a big win for them. In the division, they're a young team. Mike Vrabel's done a good job. Drake May looks really good. I think I saw something. He accounts for almost 80% of their total yards. He kind of looks like Josh Allen. He's big. He runs. He's not Josh Allen yet, but he looks like one of those, another good quarterback from that class last year. No more unbeatens. Bills lose to the Pats. Eagles lose. They were up. Lose to Sean Payton's Broncos.
Chiefs lost.
Ravens are toast. Yep. They're 1-4. Texans beat them. Everybody wants to say the injuries with Lamar Jackson. Mike, I'd like to play the Ravens right now. Defensively, they give up 35.4 points per game. That's worse in the league.
Man, but
second most yards, 408.8.
Is it just me? Lamar Jackson gets injured a lot.
Yeah, he's not a big guy.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you saw the comeback with the Cardinals. Cam Ward and the Titans get the win. They were up 21-6, the Cardinals were. Yeah. And Emery DeMercado does the thing we're still doing in 2025 where you drop the ball before you go into the end zone. That play would have put them up 28-6. Instead, they score. The Titans do. They get the ball back. They throw an interception off of a guy's helmet. That guy fumbles. The Titans recover it for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Then they get the game-winning field goal to win their first game and Cam Ward's first game. And he made a great throw in that game to lead them down. Jets are the only winless team. Everybody wants to talk about how bad the Saints are.
Yeah.
They're not.
And look at that. Everybody wanted the Saints to hire.
Aaron Glenn. And I like Aaron Glenn. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
They got throttled by the Cowboys last week.
Yeah.
Bucks and Seahawks was game of the year. Mm-hmm. That uniform-wise and game-wise. The Seahawks are good. The Bucks are better. Bucks are lucky. First team ever with 4 wins in their first 5 games by 3 or less.
Wow.
Seems like every time they're winning on a game-winning field goal. Derrick's here, guys. He is here. Can you see?
You can join us if you want.
Yeah, I'm good.
He's got his wristband on from the hospital. The Ravens are toast. Jags are fun, I think. They win a crazy game last night over Mahomes and the Chiefs. Jay Daniels is back. Welcome back. They go down 10-0, score 27 unanswered, beat the Chargers. But like we said, man, the Ravens, they don't look good.
Who's their quarterback?
The Bucks are lucky. It was Cooper Rush the other day. But I don't know who's good in the NFL.
I don't either.
I mean, because the minute you start thinking someone is,
Daniel Jones.
He is. The Colts are good. I also think Seattle's good.
But Jacksonville good at 4?
Jacksonville has
maybe, but I just showed you that Trevor Lawrence fell on the ground twice and scored. So I don't know. Pick'ems, guys. It wasn't good. We all sucked. That's what I have written down here. I went 4-7. Mike, you were 5-6. Derrick, you were 5-6. Mike, you went 1-4 in college, but 4-2 in the NFL. Again, I was 2-3, 2-4. Week 6, it was a favorite week. The only team that was an underdog actually won outright. That was Florida, the ones that we had. Bad beats. Y'all could have had Vandy. Y'all both picked Vandy. They gave up a touchdown with 17 seconds left to not cover. That happens. I've been on the other side of that, so I don't care. I won some money off that because I've lost it just as bad the other way.
Yeah.
We didn't have this game, but Maryland was an underdog on the money line. If you bet $10, you would have won $20. That they were an underdog. They led 20-0 with 11 minutes left in the third quarter. They lost that game 24-20. So if you think it's bad, it could always be worse. Like I said, Mississippi State didn't cover. Florida State lost by 6. They were 4.5. NFL though, underdogs were 5-1. The only underdog or the only favorite that won or covered was the Lions. They won. That game, look, it was close for a minute, but Jake Browning, cool. At one point in that game, Jamar Chase led the Bengals in tackles.
With 3 tackles.
With 3 tackles.
Jamar Chase.
And then he had 2 touchdowns, so then he was trying to be like Taysom Hill. Underdogs, like I said, they went 5-1, and all 5 of our underdogs we had in our picks, the Niners, which Mike picked them, the Bucks, The Commanders, the Saints, and the Jags all won outright. The Saints opened as a 1.5-point dog. They ended up being a favorite at kickoff. Season results, man, I'm bad. 30-37 overall, 18-17 in college, 12-20 in the NFL. Mike, you're 32-35, 16-19 in college, 16-16 in NFL. Derrick, a week off from us, 13-15 in college, 16-10 in the NFL. With that, we've got some good games this week. We will move quickly.
Okay.
And again, it is a good slate in college, not as much in the NFL, but like we said, I always usually do bad. I don't know. We'll see. All right, Ohio State at Illinois. Illinois is a 14.5-point underdog at home. Who's taking?
Buckeyes.
All right,
Buckeyes.
Ohio State. Just because I got to catch y'all, I'll just get on Illinois, even though they're going to lose by 17. it's gonna be like 28-10 or 28-11. Alabama is at Missouri. This game should not be at 11. College game day should be here. Missouri is a 3.5-point underdog. I think Missouri wins this game. They're good.
I'm going with Missouri.
Yeah, a lot
Missouri.
of people are going to find out how good Missouri is. I hope they win.
I don't trust Alabama no more.
I mean, defensively, Missouri's good, and offensively. By the way, the better quarterback that should be at Penn State transferred to Missouri. He's playing there. Indiana's at Oregon. That's where game day's at. Number 7 versus number 3. Ooh. Oregon is a 7.5-point favorite at home against the Hoosiers.
I'm going with the Ducks.
I got the Ducks.
I do too, actually. I think that's going to be – we're going to find out about Indiana too, because the only game we've seen them play, they blew out Illinois. Oklahoma at Texas, the Red River rivalry. This got some news today that John Mateer's trying to play.
Wow.
He just had surgery like a week ago.
Surgery?
He broke his hand.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to work.
The way Texas has been
Texas
playing,
is a 2.5-point favorite
I'm taking
right now.
Oklahoma.
I got Oklahoma still.
Yeah, look, I think this is a game where everybody's going to be on OU because Texas looks so bad. But I just think if Mateer even plays, I still think even if he doesn't, Oklahoma's probably better than Texas at the moment. Iowa State, Colorado. Colorado's a 2.5-point underdog at home. Iowa State just lost their first game.
I'm going with Iowa State.
I got Iowa State.
Yep, I do too. Colorado, watched them blow it to TCU the other day. Florida's at A&M. A&M's a 7.5-point favorite. I'm taking the Gators. I think they're going to hang around.
Taking the Aggies.
I got Aggies.
All right. Georgia at Auburn. Auburn, 3.5-point underdog. Auburn's winning the game. Get ready, guys.
I'm going for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I got Auburn.
Yeah, that's going to be – Auburn's good. If they can score, they're going to win. USC is a 2.5-point favorite against Michigan at home. Michigan with Bryce Underwood. They've won some tough road games already. They lost the game at OU. I don't really know much about USC.
I'm going with the Trojans.
I'll take Michigan because you're right. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know much about USC. I know they lost to Illinois, and Illinois sucks. I'll go Michigan. Arizona State's at Utah. Utah's a 6.5-point favorite. Arizona State, both of these teams were a favorite in the Big 12 to start. Utah's a 6.5-point favorite.
Arizona State.
Utah,
and I will take Utah as well. LSU's a 9.5-point favorite against South Carolina. LSU, I think, wins this game by 13.
LSU.
Yeah.
NFL, we'll do this quickly. Eagles at Giants Thursday night. The Giants.
It's easy.
Well,
is it though? Because I'm going to tell you right now, the Giants.
The way the Eagles played last week against the Broncos.
Exactly.
Eagles aren't necessarily that good.
They're not. I'm taking the Giants to cover. They could lose, but
the Giants have a good front seven though.
They do. Yeah. They do. Kayvon Thibodeau. Which shout out Kelvin Banks and Tali Fuanga. They only gave up like one pressure against Kayvon Thibodeau and the scary guy, Abdul Carter. Yeah. So the Giants or the Eagles?
I'm taking the Eagles.
All right. Well, I'm on the island. Jags are a 1.5-point favorite against the Seahawks. I like Seattle. I think Seattle's very good.
I'm going to go with the Jags.
I got Jags.
Bucks at Niners, another good game. Both 4-1. Bucks are a 2.5-point favorite. I'll take the Bucks too, even though the Niners burnt me. Jets in London against the Broncos. Jets are a 7.5-point underdog. I do think they cover, but I don't think they win.
I'm going with the Broncos.
Cowboys, Panthers. Panthers are a 3.5-point underdog against Dallas.
I'm going to be really cool, but I'm going with my Panthers.
I'm going with the Cowboys.
I forgot you are a Panthers guy. I'll go with the Panthers in this one. Chiefs, Lions, Sunday night. Great game. I'm taking the Lions. Lions are
going to blow them out.
Lions are a 2.5-point underdog. I think so, too. Falcons, 2 Monday night games. Falcons, 4.5 against the Bills. I think the Falcons cover but lose.
I like the Bills.
The Bills go find a way to mess this game up and play towards the Falcons competition.
Yep. So you're thinking the Falcons cover?
Yeah.
Falcons cover. Commanders get the Bears. Battle of last year's number 1 and number 2 picks. Commanders a 4.5-point favorite.
Commanders.
I'm taking them. Caleb Williams paints his fingernails.
I got the Bears.
And then the Saints at home against the Patriots. Saints are a 3.5-point dog in this one.
I like the Saints.
I do too, Mike.
I got the Patriots because Stephon Diggs had
we may not be able to cover him.
10 catches for 146 yards.
They gonna put Kool-Aid on him?
No.
Kool-Aid probably gonna be drinking Kool-Aid because he's gonna be running and be tired. He's gonna be chasing.
It's not gonna be Kool-Aid. It'll be Squincher.
Yeah. He's gonna need maybe a Capri Sun because I'm telling you, Diggs was all up in the Bills secondary, just getting after it. We'll see how we do, guys. Like we said, it wasn't good last week. We can only get better from here. Get out to a game. Every game on Friday this week. Oakdale at Menard. Kinder at South Bow. Pickering homecoming against Crescent City. Maryville's at home against Basile. Leesville homecoming against Iowa. DeRitter at home. Not homecoming, but they open district play, as does Leesville. DeRitter's hosting Eunice. Derrick and Mr. Isles will have that game for you. And I'll be at McKee-McCain Stadium. Homecoming at Rose Pine against Winfield. Derrick, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're okay.
I tried to make it as quick as I could.
Yeah, I'm shocked you got here. Hopefully you can drive home safely. Your eye looks bad.
I roll for somebody.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, I'm glad we could get you in. Sorry for keeping you a little later, but for Derrick, Mike, I'm Sean. Good night. We will see you next week. This has been the Gridiron Gumbo Show on Today's Country 105.7.
KVVP Leesville, DeRitter, Fort Polk, Today's Country